Welcome to In the Driver's Seat. This week, the Chrysler Pacifica minivan. Now, normally I come up with something witty to say, but I think that's Nick's role today.
Dennis just called it a minivan, but I have to object. I tried to think of a good analogy about this vehicle that would explain what a Chrysler crossover is, and I think I came up with a pretty good one. You know when you go to the dog park and you take your purebred dog out there, you may have seen some of these designer dogs that have recently appeared. One that springs to mind is the Beagle, which is a cross between an English bulldog and a beagle. Well, this Chrysler Pacifica is kind of like that. It's two pedigrees married together to make a new pedigree. What Chrysler have done, and they're not the only company to do this, is they've taken a minivan and an SUV and married them into what they call a crossover or a crossover utility vehicle. Right, Dennis?
That's right. We're going to take a look inside and out, but first let's start under the hood.
So once we lift the hood of the 2007 Chrysler Pacifica, we can see underneath it has a 4-liter V6 engine, and this car is quite adaptable for different conditions, right, Dennis?
Well, that's what it's all about. You're right, Nick. You know, it's not about 0 to 60 numbers or horsepower or torque numbers. It's got plenty of power and everything you'll ever need on the highway or passing on a freeway. It's more about this vehicle's ability to adapt to several different conditions. The all-wheel drive system in this small, compact, and very nimble package gives it the ability for a driver to have, I hate to say, fun in a mini-esque type vehicle. It also gives it the ability to get good gas mileage and get you down the road with very little problems. Chrysler has adapted a lifetime powertrain package that makes this vehicle almost impenetrable to the first buyer, and that is very important.
Chrysler have managed to maintain a Chrysler look on this vehicle, even though they've updated it over the last few years. One of the significant things that are seen on many Chrysler vehicles now are the ridges in the hood, then also the front grille, which looks similar on all the different cars. The actual car stands very wide on the road and actually looks low, although it isn't. It's about shoulder height on most people, maybe a head height on people as short as me.
And that transcends into the back of the vehicle. You know, Nick brought up something very important about the styling of the Pacifica. As you look down the line of the vehicle, you see some very sharp edges, yet a soft, supple line across the roofline. It's very deceiving how big it is inside, judging by the exterior size, but we'll get to that in a second when we jump in the interior. Moving into the interior of the Chrysler Pacifica, we're to the best part of this vehicle. A lot of people might not agree that it's, well, a good-looking or not good-looking vehicle on the outside, but you have to give credit where credit is due. The interior is well thought out and very useful. The third row is a little bit hard to get to, but all you have to do is pop up the seat back once people are in the third row, jump in, and you have your own bucket seat in the back, complete with electronic space, plug-ins, and your own adaptive heated seat and air conditioning vents. In the front, it's just as nice.
In the front, they've done a great job with this car, and I think what Chrysler have done is they've looked at other vehicles in the class of person that will be buying this vehicle, and they've transcended some of the technology into this car. Some things that stand out when you immediately get in is adjustable pedals, which is very common in Ford vehicles. Now we're starting to see them in Chrysler vehicles. Also, something that was left over from the era when Mercedes and Chrysler were the same company, they actually have the seat adjustments right here on the door panel. And that's really nice because you can look at what you want to adjust. You're not trying to force your hand down the side of the door, which is very tight, and guessing which button you're actually pushing. The interior is well laid out. It's very easy to use. The Uconnect, which is Chrysler's brand of Bluetooth connection in the car, is very simple to set up. And I will tell you, I enjoyed my drive in this vehicle and would consider buying one.
Now, before we stop talking about the interior, I want to touch on a couple things that Nick didn't mention. First is the adaptable system that uses not only a single CD player, but as well as a multi-disc player for DVDs if you have the entertainment system that's optional. Another thing I have to touch on is the navigation system. Rather than being a pop-up screen or something that's down low on the dash, it's right center in the dash plate, right where the speedometer is. It's easy to read and easy to use. In today's multi-use, plugged-in society, if all you have to do is look down, you don't take your eyes off the road.
So we We finished our complete inspection of the 2007 Chrysler Pacifica. Dennis, this is the part in the show when you give us 2 ups and 1 down.
Well, the first answer might be a little long-winded, Nick. It comes down to adaptability. Yes, it's a minivan. Yes, it's a sport utility. Yes to all of the above. It's the ability for this vehicle to drive like a car, handle passengers like a minivan, and still have a lot of class and a lot of style. That's got to be my first up. The second up is the interior as far as design. The 4 captain chair setup is something that I believe is the wave of the future. You've seen it here, you've seen it there, but Chrysler's kind of stuck to it with this vehicle, and I think it makes not only the front 2 occupants, but all 4 occupants very special in their own right. My down would be, well, it's a little underpowered. It's adequate for regular driving, but it'd be a little funner if it had more horsepower.
Let me tell you about my 2 ups and 1 down for this vehicle. First of all, my up is the overall usability of this vehicle. Now, I think Chrysler have done an incredible job about making a vehicle which is easy for passengers and also goes some places that a regular car may not be able to go. Especially with the all-wheel drive, it helps. The second up is the biggest up for Chrysler I can possibly give them. Their navigation system set behind the speedometer is probably the best thing I've ever seen in a navigation system. It's so easy to use, and when I go back to a regular navigation system in any other of the Tesla cars that we have, it almost seems second best. I think that is a huge winner for Chrysler. My down for this vehicle is the materials. The materials, especially on the inside. Although they've done a great job about giving you the electronics, giving you everything else you may need in the car, and having it functional and especially usable for some people who may have difficulty normally in a minivan, this has great materials, but they're not solid. They're weak. If you tap on the side, you hear hollow noises. And I don't like that in this vehicle. I'd like to see the quality on the interior go up a notch.
The 2007 Chrysler Pacifica all-wheel drive touring package comes standard with a 4-liter single overhead cam V6 engine and a 6-speed automatic transmission. The base price is $30,250 with an as-tested price of $37,770. City miles per gallon EPA rating is 16, while the highway miles per gallon EPA rating is 24.
Signorama is a full-service sign company. From small indoor signs to large outdoor signs, they can make just about any type of sign happen. Signorama specializes in full-color, large-format digital printing, which can be applied or attached to almost any type of surface. Let them design, print, and finish your custom banners, vehicle graphics, display signs, and electric sign faces. They're located off I-205 on Sunnyside Road across from Kaiser Hospital. Call 503-794-1999 or on the web at signorama.com.